Hey, what's up guys? My name is James Diamond and welcome back to the next episode here on Sonic Academy of how to make a Psytrance track. So over the last episode we were looking at the breakdown and we were looking to put together all of the melodic ideas that we created in the earlier episodes, and then we added this pretty cool speech kind of vocal voiceover type section to really help give the breakdown some more atmosphere and make it a little bit different to the intro breakdown. From there we then looked at rising and building up the track to where we're going to work on in this episode, which is the drop section. So we've got the kick and the bass, which is going to play throughout obviously the next minute or so for the drop section, and then we're going to do exactly what we did on the on the intro, and that is look at building the track back up to its full kind of energy and all of the extra elements being put in there. So if we just have a listen to see what we've got and then where we think we can go from there. So I'll just play from the start of the build and then we'll get into the actual arrangement.
Free, 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 free.
So this is where we're at, and I think we're going to have a look at maybe adding some extra transitions in there just to help it out. Just like I did on one of the earlier videos, we're going to add in some new fills. So just take a listen. So some pretty cool fills. Again, these are from the Sonic Academy sound effects sample banks from Ultimate Effects Volume 2, I believe it is. So let's chuck those in. And all we're going to do is simply, because we've already got our fill transition channel already set up with the gross beat and just a little bit of EQ, I think we're going to try and use the same channel. So we just find that, it's channel 39. So I'll just link these to channel 39, and there's also another way you can do it on here. And maybe let's try cut out this section here and see how that sounds first. I think let's try taking out the kick and the bass, and let's add in crash and the reverse crash. So it sounds okay, not the greatest to be honest. Let's just have another listen to this. Maybe we should try using the second section of this fill. That sounds a little bit better, that's pretty cool. Maybe we can do something with the kick and bass. Maybe we can add the high pass filter, which is on the kick and bass bus. That sounds pretty cool, quite liking the sound of that. I think we could start probably bringing in some of the percussion. So let's bring in the clap, and let's maybe start to bring in some sound effects. So we want to line these up. So 164, I believe it should be there, and maybe let's use this riser here. that's getting there. That's starting to sound quite cool. And I think then let's add in these fills once again, and then let's add in this original fill that we put in there, and then let's bring all of the kick and bass, and let's then, I guess let's just bring in all of the percussion, to be honest, so we can start to build the track back up. Sounds quite cool. Maybe let's just cut out the end of these two so we've got this pretty cool kind of stutter effect. Sounding quite nice. It sounds a little bit kind of small though, so maybe let's start adding back in the bass hits, and let's grab our acid effects, and let's try putting these in here. Just messed up on the, yeah, see I've used the wrong kick and bass patterns there, so they were slightly out. Okay, let's bring sound effects back in to continue these, and let's maybe use the downlifter here as well. Sounding nice, so let's copy and paste this over, and I think now would be a good time to probably start to bring in our second lot of acid effects. Okay, let's get the crash in there. Let's copy across all of our sound effects to continue on. And I'm thinking let's try something different with the kick and the bass line here. I'm thinking maybe let's put some sort of sound effect on them, some sort of stutter effect. So let's go back and have a look at the gross beat. And all I'm going to do here, I'm going to, obviously I don't want it on all the time, so I'm going to create an automation on the mix amount, and I'm just going to automate the mix amount to 100% when it's on this last bar here. Let's see if we can find some cool kind of stutter effect for the kick and the bass here. Quite like the sound of that one, but I don't like the way that it kind of does a tape stop there, so maybe if I get rid of that. Quite liking the sound of that. Maybe just drop out the kick and the bass and the percussion. starting to come together very nicely. I think this might be a good time to start to bring in the acid, the main acid that we have. So let's begin to copy over all of our sounds. And let's just bring these back to land on the beat. And then let's use the filter on the acid to start bringing that in. Just make sure we've got this all lined up properly, as that was in the wrong place. There we go. Starting to come together quite nicely. Let's try, I think what we want to do is probably bring back the vocal so it sits over the top. So let's copy the vocal over and let's see how it sounds bringing it back in over the top of everything else that's playing.
System leaves us on our own.
So that's sounding pretty nice, although I'm starting to think that maybe that was a little bit too early for the vocals to come in. So perhaps let's move it to bar 189 and let's possibly do the same with the acid as well. Because we've got all the other acid effects coming in here, it might just be a bit too much to bring, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things in all at once. So let's try that instead. I think I've got some of my timings slightly wrong here. Just going to count these up to make sure that they're working in multiples of 8. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that should be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, no, that was in the right place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is correct. I just haven't brought these in at the right place. Okay, so let's move this forward. Let's just check that. Yeah, that's coming in on the bar. For some reason, some of the acid effects here, sound effects, have dropped out at the start. Okay. So maybe let's do a slightly a kind of rise effect to help bring in the speech section a little bit more. So maybe let's use our high pass on the bass, kick and bass bus, and let's maybe drop out the percussion and the kick and bass there, and let's go ahead and use our long risers. So it's bar 189. And maybe got a rogue clap section here. Let's bring that back up. Let's use our filter on the percussion again to maybe just filter the percussion off a little bit, just so it has some more impact when it comes back in. And it should be sounding good, hopefully. Let's take a listen.
Music is all around us.
So I'm liking the sound of it, although I've used the wrong build. If you remember, we created this second copy of the Mofo Riser as it was a little bit too loud for when the kick and bass was playing, but it was fine when it was without the kick and bass. So I'll just put that number 2, the second copy of it in, and take a listen.
Music is all around us, as a whole.
Yep, I think that sounds pretty cool. And I think so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think let's carry this on for one more 8-bar section. And hopefully that should bring us up to a nice place where we can go into our next section. So let's bring these across. And of course we may not want to use all of the vocal speech in the outro, so we'll have a look and see if we can cut it anywhere. But let's have a listen.
Music is all around us, as a whole. We can use our talent and knowledge in music to bring us together. When you walk down the street, look around. What do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters. These are the very minds of the people that we are trying to set free. But until we do,
Okay, we're just listening to it there. I think we want to stop the vocal when it says to set free. So if we just solo this and have a listen.
carpenters, these to set free.
So I think when he says set free, that might be quite a cool bit to actually end here at bar 205. So maybe there's a section we can cut and move it along.
Businessmen, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters.
So maybe let's cut it here, just before he says these, and let's highlight all of the different parts, and he says free here. Yeah. So let's maybe move that to here.
Carpenters. These are the carpenters. These are the very minds of the people that we are trying to set free.
Okay, so I got that in the wrong place. Got confused because of these acid effects, so it should be here.
Carpenters. These are the very minds of the people that we are trying to set free. But until we do,
Okay, and got this in the wrong place as well. It should be bar 204. And I think we don't want to maybe use this extra section just yet, so let's just keep all of that muted for the time being.
when you walk down the street, look around, what do you see? Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters. Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters. These are the very minds of the people that we are trying to set free.
So that's sounding quite cool. As you can see, I just put in some extra, the gross beat kind of section, just to kind of give it a bit of variation so it's not just the same beat. And I think this might be quite cool if we now copy and paste the kick and the bass. And as we did on the intro, let's just bring just the kick and the bass together and see how that sounds. Maybe these acid effects and the sound effects.
Businessmen, teachers, lawyers, carpenters. These are the very minds of the people that we are trying to set free. Trying to set free.
I think the acids and things might be too much. I think we want to kind of focus on just the kick and the bass.
Trying to set free.
That sounds quite cool, liking that. And I think this would be a good time to start maybe bringing back the pads actually, and let's try filtering in the pads and see how they sound, so then we can kind of lead on and probably have the breakdown maybe here at 208. Not too sure. Let's just have a listen and let's start to filter. Okay, it's in the right place. Start to filter in the pads. See how that sounds. So let's use both filters and let's bring the first one in there, and maybe let's bring the second filter to the end of the pattern.
Of the people that we are trying to set free.
Yeah, so let's bring the kick and the bass back along. So that I think that's quite a nice place to end actually. Does that end there? Should end here.
Of the people that we are trying to set free.
That's cool, liking the sound of that. Let's try and do something with the vocals here. Just move these across. Maybe like what we did in the breakdown, and we just cut the word free and continued it on. Let's try and do the same with this section here. So maybe on every beat.
Of the people that we are trying to set free. 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 Free.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Maybe we can use the reverb again and increase the dry wet so it becomes wet, so we start to hear more of the reverb.
Free. 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 Free.
Sound pretty good. I think let's get our effects in here. So the crash, let's get the uplifter, let's use the downlifter, and maybe we can get away with using this riser again. I might just make this unique again and create an automation on the volume so that it doesn't come in so suddenly, and have it a little bit quieter. I think that works quite well. Let's go and grab our kick effects and things like that. Let's copy these over. So that's sounding pretty cool. I think one last thing that I might want to do is on the speech, let's put on a high pass filter and just start to filter out the low end. Just to help that transition even more, just to kind of bring these out.
Three.
So that's pretty cool. And I think then one last thing is we want to filter up the kick and the bass.
Triangle to set 3. 3. 3. 3. 3.
So that's sounding very nice indeed. Really liking the sound of that. I think putting the vocal, the speech, back over the top in this section was a great idea. I think it, just to make it a bit different, because obviously we're kind of copying what we've done on the intro section, but we're adding the vocal in to give it something else to kind of join all the track together so that you remember it's from the breakdown, and we've used it again in this section here, and an extra layer so it's not the kind of same old thing repeating over and over again. Obviously it is progressive psytrance, so that's kind of the idea, is to have nice long kind of progressive sounds coming in and out, but then adding in this extra speech bit is really helping it, and especially obviously leading on to the outro bit here. So I think that's a good place to stop. I think here at bar 212 we'll start to look at doing the outro breakdown, which will be one of the last couple episodes in this series. So make sure you join me in that one and we will get cracking. Okay, thanks. I'll see you then. Cheers.